Welcome back to another episode of the Humor Hustle. I'm joined by my co-host Garrett, and today we've got alongside us a special guest who's actually trending right now on the internet. You guys go check him out. My boy Bryson Jarrett. Jarrett, welcome. Bryson, wow. Bryson, welcome to the studio.
Thanks
Appreciate you joining us. And now we want to get a little bit about you. We've been following you kind of closely for the past little bit and watching your music take off. It's been really awesome to see your growth. And I'm sure it's just been such an easy ride, right, the whole way.
100%.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about, your journey, start to finish, where this passion for your music started and, how it's been going.
Yeah, so about 2 weeks ago, I said, I should really try this music thing out, and bam, here we are.
Yeah, just like that.
No, I mean, if you want from the beginning, 10 years ago, I wrote my first song and fell in love with it. So I started writing songs about 10 years ago. About 5 years ago, I was married and got divorced, and music was like what I turned to get through that. And then since then, that's kind of just built into I want to make this a career, and kind of turned into what it is.
Yeah.
So.
No, it's awesome. I saw that you had, and correct me if I'm wrong, but it was like 100 songs, was it within a year?
Yeah,
type challenge?
Yeah, so I had released songs previously under my name, Bryson Jarrett, and I wasn't having as much success as I would have hoped. So I decided to take a year off and write 100 songs. So I wrote and produced 100 songs, and then rebranded to just Bryson, so BRYSN, and then I'm releasing my top 15 of the 100 every 3 weeks.
Oh, wow.
Releasing a song right now.
That's exciting. No, and
That's
I saw too
so
you had a record, was it a record label that called in?
Mm-hmm.
Did they call you or did you call them? And how did that
called me.
conversation go?
Yeah, I've had a few reach out.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I had one reach out that said that they needed 25,000 followers on Instagram to sign me. I had like 16,000 at the time.
Yeah.
Which is funny because that video blew up and now I'm at like almost 60,000.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm not going to be working with any record labels.
So you're going the independent route.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So in terms of your music journey, I guess what's been the hardest part about having the mindset of trying to be a serial entrepreneur? Because at some point you had to decide that you were going to let go of everything else and just pursue this.
Yeah.
So where did that kind of mental switch happen where you said, okay, this is what I need and I need to give everything I have into it?
So there's been a few steps on the process. Because I'm not saying this is the same with everything, but at least music, it's like you need to somewhat be strategic before you just drop it and say, I'm going to go for it, because most people aren't good enough to do that. Because it takes years to build that skill. But the first was 2020. I just broken up with this girl. I was re-examining my life. And there was this book I was reading, and it asked a question of, if the universe gave you whatever you wanted, what would your life look like? And that was really eye-opening to me, because I was like, well, dang, I guess if I could get anything, I would do music full-time and have a family and have a house, but I'd be making music. And when I answered that, I realized, wait a second, that's not crazy, right? And so I started thinking, well, how can I start to make that possible? So at the time I was working a 9-to-5 job, I called up a summer sales company, because I was like, if I can go sell door-to-door pest control for 4 months, then I can do music the rest of the year.
Right.
So that's where the first switch was I started selling in the summer, and then I did music full-time the rest of the year. So I did that for 3 years until this last summer, so a year ago. Then my buddies hit me up, and they're like, we've got this business in music, and I felt like it was fine to let go of summer sales and start moving into that. And then about 3 months ago, I finally just felt like even that business, it was like, bro, you just gotta let go of the ledge. It felt like a ledge. Like I'm holding on, not wanting to drop into this chasm of just fear of music. You know what I'm saying? That's not smart, it's not logical, but I just felt like this is what you want to do. It's time to just let go. So I finally, about 3 months ago, let go and just said, I don't know how we're going to make money. I don't know how we're going to do this, but we're going to go for it.
There you go. And at this point in your career, what would you say you're most proud of up to this point in your journey?
I would say I'm most proud of my consistency. Yeah.
And that he is. If you go look at his Instagram, I don't think there's a day that goes by where boy doesn't hop up on my feed. Like, he's always on there.
Oh, dude, I'm annoying.
There's
Yeah.
if there's one thing, just being in the space for quite a while, I took a long break to just focus on school because I was very one-track minded, and I felt like if I was doing something else, then I wouldn't be giving everything I had into trying to finish school. But in terms of social media, something that I've noticed that surprisingly still a lot of people don't grasp the concept of is consistency is insanely important. Because once you get people that are expecting to have you or expecting to see you on a consistent basis, you have to have a set schedule, because at that point there's people counting on you to see your stuff. And if you're doing one video on a Monday and then you wait a week and a half and post a video on a Thursday and then one on Friday and then wait another week until next Friday, it's just this scrambled schedule, and you actually lose followers because of that, because they're expecting you to have more of a consistent posting schedule. And I don't think a lot of people realize that, especially people that are wanting to be somewhat of an influencer, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is consistency so important in that space, and especially now because social media has just escalated, right?
Yeah.
When TikTok started in 2019, obviously it was a joke at first, right?
Yeah.
If you had a TikTok, at least in my experience when I was in high school and people saw that I had it, it's like, really? You have TikTok, you renegade, right?
Yeah.
But a few years down the road, right, you actually are being consistent, and at a certain point I was posting probably 2 videos a day for 2 years straight.
Yeah.
And then when I got to the point of up over, I think at the time I was somewhere at, it wasn't a ton, it was like 30,000, which for TikTok is really not that much, but this was probably 2020, halfway through 2020. Well, all of a sudden there's these people reaching out to you like, hey, how you been?
Yeah.
How you doing? It's not so stupid now, is it? But
right.
yeah,
You've
just
never experienced that though, right? No one's ever hit you up now that you've kind of like, you know, made your mark on the world. No one's ever just been like, oh, hey man, how are things going?
Dude,
Never happened.
never. No.
the switch up is crazy though, but it is super important to be consistent in that field, because everything I feel like is controlled by social media nowadays.
Here's what's cool. So I agree 100%. Not many people can do it, especially in the music industry. So many people are like, I just want to make music. I don't want to make content. Content sucks, you know? But my mindset was 95% of you might have better music than me, but none of you are willing to do social media, right?
Mm-hmm.
And be consistent. And so it's interesting. So I started a brand new Instagram account, brand new, like songs, everything in January. I had 160 followers in January. And I had, 100 songs, and I was, going to release my top 15. And in my mind, I was like, I know these are the best songs that I can give. I've done the work. I made a promise to myself, I will stay consistent on social media. Because before I had done 2 months, maybe a month of consistent posting, then quit.
Right.
And I was like, no matter what, I am not going to stop. And it was interesting because I tracked all my metrics and stuff, and it was my 70th Instagram reel that finally bust through 10,000 views and went viral, and took me from 300 followers to 3,000 followers, right?
Holy
Right.
cow.
But the thing I tell people is I posted to 200, 250, 300 people, gaining 13 followers in a week for 3 months before that finally happened. And then from March till, now we're in July, 3,000 to 60,000 has been exponential.
Yeah, that's a big difference.
Yeah, but that's the point of the consistency.
Yeah.
And that's what people don't understand. I'm like, great, you've been consistent for 2 weeks. You posted 10 reels. Now do that 7 times over, and maybe you'll get one that breaks through.
Right.
Yeah, and the algorithm is a scary place too, bro, because at least in my experience, the second you stop or the second you take a break, you kind of fall out of being in the spotlight, for lack of a better word. But for me, when I was posting, I got to the point where I was doing 2 a day for around 2 years straight, and I stayed in the algorithm the whole time. The lowest views I got at a certain point when I was at my peak, I'd say, was minimum 10,000.
Yeah.
And then I stopped for the first time for about a month, posted again, I think that one barely reached 200, and the next 5 after that didn't even hit 1,000 until I got back on a schedule. Because the way, I'm sure you know how they release it, but basically it goes out to a set amount of people, and then based off of the like to view ratio, then they'll take that metric and say, okay, now we can show it to a few more people.
Right.
But when you fall off at a certain point, it's almost like they think your account's deactive.
Yeah.
So for me,
the algorithm rewards consistency.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And for me, for TikTok at least, when I stopped, at one point I hadn't posted anything for more than half a year, probably 7 months. And when I posted after that, I looked at the metrics and not a single view was from the For You page. Right. Every single view that I had was from people that were currently already following me. Yeah. So the importance of staying consistent, especially in the field that you're in. So nobody wants to be, like, if you ask anybody, they don't want to say, I want to be a TikToker for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to do that. Yeah. But it's the best avenue to branch out to different places. Right. For me, I've always, since I was a kid, I wanted to be a YouTuber. Well, now it's to the point where it's so saturated. There's a million different people doing the same type of thing every day, and only the people that were there from the very beginning are the ones that have super taken off to a certain space. But there's a million podcasts now. There's a million people that do comedy skits. There's now a couple 100,000 people that are trying to be the next Mr. Beast and come up with all these crazy ideas. But if you don't get it while it's good, then it seems like you're going to be left behind. So TikTok, in my opinion, was a good idea because it's the easiest way to hit the algorithm to reroute somebody to a different space. Right. And in terms of your music, how much do you think that affects how many views you've got? Because obviously you could post a song straight to YouTube, no promotion on Instagram, no promotion on TikTok, Reels, whatever.
Yeah.
What do you think the view difference is, and how much harder it would be to strictly just go pure YouTube versus small clips everywhere else? And how much more do you think people are listening to your music because of those reels you make every single day?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's, so to give you an idea, like, I haven't had any songs like pop off yet, like go mega viral. That's the goal. But like,
it only takes one, man.
Yeah, no, really.
It seriously takes one.
Right. And but to answer your question, like, for example, this last song I put out called Ghost, I had 2 videos that I posted on it. I've gotten probably over 2 million views for this song that came out, right?
Oh wow, man.
But even and that's led to direct streams. Like, it's most streams I've gotten in a week for a song. But even like, so I was at 16,000 followers on Instagram a month and a half ago. And now I'm at 60,000 followers, right? If you go over to Spotify for artists, you can see, you know, your followers. I think I had 300 followers on Spotify at the time, which followers on Spotify are harder to get than
absolutely. Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So, but like in a month, I went from 300 followers to 1,300 followers on Spotify, right?
Which for that is,
that's
for anyone
insane.
Watching, that's huge, by the way.
Yeah. So again, to give you an idea, it's like from and I was putting out a song every 3 months. It's like from January till June, it was like, you know, really slow to get to 300 followers, and then I started popping off on Instagram, and it grew exponentially because people can find my stuff.
Right.
So it has a direct correlation, 100%, of just people listening to the music.
So I want to dive more into that because obviously there have been, you know, instances where I've looked and we saw the incident where you got Madison Beer's attention. Yeah. By the way, pretty badass. I don't think a lot of guys can say that they've done that.
You know who everybody knows who Madison Beer
if you don't know who Madison Beer is.
Should I tell the story?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I want to hear that story, and then I've got some other questions for you.
So it all started when I was writing 100 songs. I needed ideas. And I was scrolling through TikTok, and Madison Beer popped up on my TikTok, and she's obviously really attractive. But I was like, there's all these songs, like Jack Harlow did the Dua Lipa song, right? Yeah. And I was like, I wonder if I could write a song with her name as the title. So that was it. That was the goal. And I wrote it, and I was like, this is actually pretty good. And it ended up making the top 15. I was like, I'll put it out. So I put it out, and what's funny, this is back to your point about how does Instagram and these videos go to Spotify, right? So I put out the song and it did decent. It was like 2,000, 3,000 streams, you know. It was getting like, it kind of, after like the wave of the initial, like it's out, it was getting like 50 streams a day. But Madison Beer was in Salt Lake. I bought tickets and I waited outside her concert from like 2 p.m. I got there at 2 p.m. Her concert wasn't until 8. I was out there with a bunch of just like teenage girls with a sign.
No
Because
way.
I was like, I knew if I could get her attention saying, Madison, I wrote you a song, right? I think that could get her attention. And if I could film her, if she could have an interaction with me, I know that would go viral, you know? So I snuck a sign in. You're not even supposed to bring a sign in. They let me take the sign in if they said if you show it one time, you get one time. Because you don't want to block people behind you, right?
Right.
So anyways, I'm there. And she did 2 speaking parts. The first part, everyone was like, "Oh, show it now." And I was like, "No, this is the intro. Like, I think she'll do one more, and that'll be the time to show it." So the second time, her music starts playing. I hold up the sign, and sure enough, her and I had like a little interaction where she was like, "You wrote me a song." She was like, "The song is my name." And anyway, So we talked back and forth. I put out the video, and sure enough, I think it did 600K on Instagram, and it's still doing like 700K on TikTok.
Dang, dude.
And that song went from 50 streams a day to 500, 600 streams a day.
So that shows you the power of social media, just like how
100%.
quick that is.
Yeah.
So my question is, has she listened to it? Do you know?
I don't think she has. If I'm being honest.
Really?
Yeah.
Everyone got a spam in the comments.
I've listened to it. I think it's a great
Yeah.
song.
She said she was going to, but yeah, I don't think she.
Madison, if you're out there, hit us up. Let us know that you listened to it.
Seriously.
What was that? I remember I saw the concept of the video on her Instagram. What was the thing that she posted on her Instagram? She was holding. It was a picture of something.
Didn't
wasn't
she?
it?
Yeah, didn't she shout you out on her story, or did I make that up?
No, I don't think so.
Oh, okay.
No.
I could have sworn I saw something like that too, but
If she would have shouted out the song or shouted me out, then it would have gone from 600 streams to like probably
millions.
2,000 streams, 3,000 streams a day.
Yeah.
I don't,
Yeah.
That was the hope, but even if she didn't, it was like the point of it was to get a video, which is what I got,
Yeah.
and it did well. So
Well, and so my follow-up questions to that is, I mean, obviously people can talk all day, like they've said, right? I want to be a music artist. I want to be an entrepreneur. I want to do this. I want to, pursue a career in the NBA, the NFL. I want to be a professional athlete. But very few have what it takes to actually develop the mindset on what it takes. And so I want to, Bryson, break down your mindset on you quite literally dropping everything, saying, fuck it, dude, I'm going to go out and do everything. And I'm burning my boats, essentially. Like, this is it, or I'm kind of done. And so for you to come up with these creative ideas, like getting Madison's attention at a concert, essentially just dropping everything you were comfortable with, that ledge, so to speak. Take me through that mindset on what it actually takes to develop that and really believe in yourself.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's a good question. I would say it's 2 things. First of all, you have to show up and do the work.
Yep.
Like I have been for 5. I love producing music. I love writing songs. Like it is my favorite thing to do, right? A lot of people like to play video games. I don't like to play video games. It doesn't give me as much of a high as producing music does. Like it's like a drug for me.
Yeah.
Seriously. So that's the big thing. But so I've been doing it every day since 2019. Every day. 2, 3, 4, 5, however many hours, but every day. So consistency and hard work, everyone talks about it. That's important. The second one, to your point, is the mentality and the mindset, right? And I had this realization. I've been looking a lot into the law of attraction.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty popular these days of like, I'm manifesting, this future. but really, I actually saw a video on TikTok that kind of flipped my thinking because he was saying manifesting isn't what more can you get. It's more of what can you let go of to allow more in. And that really got me thinking. And so I started experimenting with that. For example, there was a girl that I was into. Long story short, we had dated years previously. She had come back into my life, but had a boyfriend, but we were kind of talking. Anyways, but just setting a boundary of cutting that off. I'm done. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
That's hard. That's a really hard thing to do.
But it's crazy because I did it, and the next day, new girl we dated, not for super long, but showed up the next day, right?
That quick.
That quick.
Wow.
It's crazy. And so I started experimenting with this more, and one of them was the fear of being seen. And this was huge for my social media. Like, I journaled all my fears of being seen on the internet, being famous in a way.
So
right?
those were fears. Did those stem from like insecurities, or like you just
insecurities? I think we all have them, right?
Yeah,
it's
for
like,
sure.
If any of us seriously sit down and say, I'm going to be seen by 1 million people tomorrow,
Mm-hmm.
right? There's going to come up things like people aren't going to like me, people are going to think I'm stupid, right? And so I had to go in and like surrender those, like let those go, right? Like I'm not afraid of these things. And it was, I'm not kidding, same thing, day or two later was my first reel that did like 500K views.
That's crazy.
And so the other thing was, you know, with this business I was a part of, and I felt like I needed to let it go, but I was really scared. I think I was at 6,000 followers at the time. And I went in and I quit the business. I'm like, I'm just going to go after my music. I don't know how I'm going to make money. I don't know what I'm going to do. And boom, went from 6,000 to 16,000 followers. Went more viral than I'd, like, it's kind of just been exponential. So bottom line is there's been a lot of work involved, but also like focusing a lot on what are the walls that inside myself that are keeping me from where I want to be, and taking those away.
Right, just kind of like
breaking through
refining
those.
it and making
Yeah.
it. So I guess a question for the both of you then. I mean, and maybe in your own lives, and you know, kind of helping out our viewers here. What are some things that, I mean, on a generalized level that people might be struggling with? I mean, because a lot of people are like, oh yeah, I'm going to go do this, right? I mean, we heard it in Priz's episode.
Right.
We're going to go start a business. We're going to go do this. But very few take that leap of faith, just like Bryson's done, right? I mean, how do we help a community of people where it's just like, dude, chase your dreams and don't look back? Like, how do you bring that in a more general sense? I know that's kind of a tough question. But.
For me, obviously, it's very easy to get comfortable. It's very easy to reach a point where, if you're speaking in terms of more of a monetary value, then it's easy for people to reach a point that they're happy with and then just be okay with that and never try for anything more. And that's the same for anything, with whether you're making music or whether you want to be an influencer or run a business or anything like that. But a lot of times something's holding them back, usually internally, that's keeping them from getting out of their comfort zone, because there's the saying that's there's no growth in the comfort zone and there's no comfort in the growth zone, right? So for me, or something that I had to realize, is a lot of times opportunities won't present themselves unless you let go of something else.
Right.
And
Which
you can
is
either
exactly what he's saying,
yeah,
too. Yeah,
and you can either let go or be dragged, and that choice is up to you. But I feel like you won't ever reach your full potential of what you're trying to achieve unless you loosen the grip on something that's holding you back, whether that's somebody in your life, whether that's a toxic relationship, whether that's something internally. But you'll never be able to fully chase everything that you want unless you clear out the smoke in the room.
Right.
And just have a clear mind, a clear vision for everything that you want. Because when we had that talk on the episode a few weeks ago, it's like, evaluate the people around you. How many people around you that you're speaking to on a daily basis are actively trying to help you get towards your goals? Well, if the last 10 people you've talked to, if there's only 1 or 2 people that want what's best for you, that's not good.
Right.
You have to surround yourself with people that have a similar mindset of, okay, I need to let go of whatever's holding me back so I can fully pursue what I want to do with my life.
Yeah.
And yeah, I guess that's what I would say is, it's a lot easier to let go. It's harder in terms of more of a mental mindset, because we're attached to things. It's kind of like a mental hoarder. There's something that you've had for so long and you feel like if you lose it, it's going to change your life drastically. Or you have these things that you feel like you can't live without. Like, especially when you're younger, right? I was in a couple of relationships where I'm like, oh, even if we break up, and then you go through the whole thing of, oh, we can still be friends. Is that good? No, dude. Right. It's not. But you get so comfortable with these things, and you feel like if they leave your life, whatever that may be, that you feel like something is going to drastically change, or the whole, I can't live without this. But when you finally do let go of that grip that you have, well, all of a sudden, like you were saying, an opportunity almost immediately presents itself after that. When you were like, oh, I finally did that. I finally got over my fear of being seen. Quite literally, the very next video was everything you could have hoped for.
Yeah.
So.
I think what you're saying, it's an understanding of self. It takes going deep inside and understanding yourself. And this is like when you go into like therapy stuff where it's like, what's your relationship with your parents like? What kind of traumas do you have as a kid? What are you scared of? Like, to your point, like, those are the things that you need to face and like get rid of, like break down, right? Especially if you want, in my opinion, like, I'm still on the journey, but if you want to be something extraordinary, you know, great. If you want to be seen, influential, then you need to go inside and understand why you are the way you are and heal those things, in my opinion.
And for you, you did it through, it sounds like journaling, like, or just like some form of that. Did you have any mentors or any therapists or anybody that kind of helped you push past these insecurities so you could get to the point where you could finally be extraordinary? Or did you do a lot of this like just self-healing?
I did therapy I've done therapy a lot. And that helped me. Just, how do you even go inside yourself? How do you meditate? How do you even process emotions? Like, I didn't know any of that. So therapy helped me with that a lot in terms of actually healing traumatic moments I'd been through that had been holding me back in terms of my self-worth and confidence. And then from there, I've done it. Like the fear of being seen, like, I literally just journaled it and then just closed my eyes, went deep inside and just like kind of wrestled with that on my own and felt like I came out healed on the other side of it. So.
Was that a strategy that, like, sorry to cut you off, was that a strategy that like a therapist told you to do, or did you just kind of come up with that?
I've had experiences like that in therapy that
Interesting.
kind of taught me that mold. I did a lot of, if you've heard of EMDR.
Yes. Remind me what it stands for, though.
I don't know what it stands for.
Okay.
But it's basically like you go back to traumatic moments as your healed self.
And rewire the neural pathways, right?
That memory and like heal it in a logical way. So that's what I'll do is a lot of times like these fears stem from childhood or whatever. And so I take my adult self back into those moments and help that inner child out. Yeah. Sounds kind of voodoo, but
no, it's selfishly I'm asking for myself because I've got probably things I got to go back at and relook at, but anyway, I just was curious.
We all do.
A lot of those things, though, obviously therapy, stuff like that can help, but at the end of the day, the greatest enemy to yourself is the person that's staring back at you in the mirror. So at some point, you have to figure things out by yourself. And I saw this thing the other day. I can't remember who said it or else I'd cite it, but it was the guy that approaches people and asks them what they do for a living.
Oh, School of Hard Knocks. Is it that guy?
It's the Daniel Mack, I think.
Oh, Daniel Mack. Okay, yeah.
So it was either him or someone else that did something similar, but they walked up to some guy and he's like, "How are you successful?" And he just said, "Drive a convertible." And he's like, "What do you mean?" He's like, "The fears you don't face become our limits. So if you're limiting yourself to certain things, then you're always going to have a roof." And then he's like, "Do you get it now?" He's like, "Yeah." He's like, "Drive a convertible." Because every fear that you have is going to be a limit. And at that point, there's going to be a ceiling or something that you can't elevate past.
So basically, if I want to drive a truck, I should go buy a truck.
Yeah.
Is that what you're saying?
I guess. If that's a fear, then get after it. But
to me, it really is. If there's something in your life you're not happy with, what do you need to let go of to change it? It's all inside of you.
Yeah.
To that point. Yeah.
All right. So before we get back into more of the musical standpoint, my question to you is, what is your why? And why do you do this every day? And what is your end goal? What do you want to see Bryson doing 10, 15 years from now?
And no pressure, because we will send you this video 5-10 years from now and see if you've accomplished it.
Yeah. We'll fact check you. No.
Yeah.
My why is I want to show myself and the world that there's no dream too large and there's no person too small. That whatever you want to do, you can do it by making music a career. That's like my why. So I want to like be able to look my kids in the eyes, whoever's around me, and be like, that dream you have, I know you can do it. because I had this crazy dream once upon a time to tour the country and do music, and I did it. So if I can do it, you sure as hell can do that. You know, that's my why. In 10 to 15 years, so I mean, I'll be in 10 years. I would love to be like most people. I'd love to have a wife, family, kids, and still be writing songs, making music, helping other artists, writing for other artists, putting out music, maybe still touring to my fans. That would be my ideal life in 10 years.
Okay, so I'm curious now, with that being said, out of all the music artists out there, because there's quite a few, who's the dude or the girl that you're just like, I look at this person like, wow, I love their fan base, I love what they stand for. Like, who's the musician you most want to be likened to?
Dude, honestly, I don't know if you guys know John Bellion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's just like a cool dude.
Oh, yeah.
He's a cool dude, and I don't know if you guys have been like following much, like because he hasn't put out music in a minute, but he's been writing just like hit after hit for Justin Bieber, Jonas Brothers, Kid Laroi.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he is killing it, but has a good family, has a good head on his shoulders.
I didn't know that. So he's actually he's a songwriter too.
Yeah.
Because all I ever knew him as was doing his own
feature
stuff,
guy.
the feature guy.
Yeah.
Or I think the last album that I actively listened, I don't know how much he went out after that, but the song JT, John Travolta, that probably was 2018, 2019?
Yeah, so he actually just did an interview, and he basically said he realized his record deal was shit, and so he said, I'm not going to put out any more music under this record deal, I'm getting screwed over.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why he hasn't put music out. But yeah, he was Justin Bieber Ghost, if you know that song.
Yeah.
He did the whole Jonas Brothers new album. He just put out Girls by Kid Laroi, did that one. Just pumping out some good stuff behind the scenes. It's like, man, I freaking love this song. Who wrote this? Oh yeah, it was John.
So he's the producer behind him now, not so much the singer and the songwriter, right?
And he'll write. I think he'll write, but yeah, big producer.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's kind of crazy.
So what song up to this point are you most proud of? Or what song means the most to you personally? Or even, I guess, which one did you put the most effort into?
It's a good question. I would have to say, as much as it, like, I almost don't want to say it, would be Ghost, which just came out.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason I don't want to say it, because it's actually the first song I ever put out in 2020. But it really resonated with people, so I re-released it under this BRYSN project. I redid it. But that one, I wrote it and then played it at like local coffee shops and stuff for probably a year, just like tweaking it. And that one, so it's taken a long time to get to where it's at, but also I've had so many DMs from people,
Wow.
like, about that song, because that song's my divorce song. That's like what got me through my divorce, basically. Like, that's what epitomized that low time for me. And since re-releasing it about 3 weeks ago, I've gotten messages of like I had one guy tell me his wife had just died of cancer, and my song like brought him just peace during that time. I had this other guy tell me he was on a mission, and the girl that he was going to marry when he got home died in a car crash, and my song finally put to words what he had felt all these years since. Like, I've had so many people tell me, like, I'm also going through a divorce, I don't know how to make it, your song gives me hope, you know? So probably that one for that reason.
That's pretty impactful. Like, I think that's probably pretty exciting as an artist to see, you know, that your music and your story is really starting to make an impact on people.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
I mean, I'm just like blown away.
In a million years, would you have ever thought that?
Not to that extent.
No.
I think that connection is important too, because if you have a song that resonates with somebody to that extent, then it's almost like they feel like they know you even if they've never met you.
Yeah.
And it's because they're able to resonate through the words that they've been thinking this entire time, but there was never a song for it. And all of a sudden they're like, every single lyric in this song could directly relate to something that was going on in their life. Because obviously you're writing a song about something that happened to you, but people are a lot more similar than everybody thinks. So
it's so humbling. It's like crazy humbling.
Right.
That someone would, for example, like the guy that said that his girlfriend that he was going to marry passed away, and for 10 years he didn't know how to express that, and my song helped him do it. Like that's insane.
That's
to
insane.
Me.
That I
That's
just
insane.
got goosebumps.
Like,
Wow.
yeah. I mean, it's cool, but it's also like it's just so humbling, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So.
That's amazing. So, what are your plans? So, you said you mentioned you were going on tour, right? Or eventually, that's the plan.
So right now, I'm putting my live show together to start playing some local shows, like at Kilby Court in Salt Lake,
Okay.
the Velour in Provo, and I'm hoping by next summer to start doing like a tour, to keep the socials keep building,
Yeah.
the music keeps building. That's the hope.
What's
That's
that
exciting.
process like, and how much effort has to go into planning and actually being able to schedule these venues? Because I know that's something
So
that's very
much.
overlooked, but someone hears, oh, they're going on tour, but I don't think anybody knows the back end of how many strings you had to pull to be able to play.
I mean,
those
honestly, I
venues.
don't even know. I'm gonna have to find someone. I have a contact. She's been running tours for different bigger bands and stuff in Nashville, so she's gonna have to help me because I wouldn't be able to do it.
I mean, do you know this guy by now? He's the guy that says, shit, dude, I don't know. I'm going to just drop it and figure it out when I
We'll
get there.
figure it out.
Yeah,
We'll
That's
figure
a
out
serial
how to do it.
entrepreneur, bro.
Yeah,
It's like,
figure
I don't
it out.
know. I'll figure it out.
he's that guy, bro. Like, he figures it out.
Where would you say is your all-time dream location to play a show?
You know, that's funny. I really don't have one. I've never really thought of that. I mean, like complex style venues, so like a couple thousand people,
Like
3,000 people.
what is it? The Kia in, what's that venue called? I went to a Harry Styles concert there once. I can't remember what it's called. It's in L.A.
The Forum,
The Forum. Kia Forum.
dude, that would be insane.
Yeah.
Honestly, I haven't even dreamed that big. I'm like, let me just, you know, if I could play a complex style venue, I'll just pass away right after. Like my life's done.
That's not impossible
It's
though. That's
not,
the
though.
crazy thing. But
Yeah.
I like the intimacy of the smaller venues.
Yeah.
Because people feel like they got something before it blew up, and I'm sure that's important to you too. Every fan that you have, but in terms of a place like the Complex, people are really proud to have found somebody before they really, really blew up.
Oh, yeah.
I went to a concert a few years ago. I don't know if you've ever heard of the band called Great Good Final K, but it's like alternative music. But at the time that I went to the concert, there was maybe 200 people there,
Yeah.
and for a Complex can fit well over 1,000, I'm
Yeah.
guessing, and that intimacy is important though, because they were small enough at that point that after the concert was over, they just walked off the stage and hugged all the fans and took pictures with them and made it through the entire crowd.
Yeah.
So I'm sure even something like that to you would mean a lot, because once you have that kind of interaction with somebody, they're going to be fans for life, whether that's at the Complex or if you did eventually get to play more of a stadium style venue. But
You know, I'm playing a little backyard acoustic show in someone's backyard this Friday in Provo, and
Oh, there you
I've
go.
got a few fans that are like, I'm gonna be there. I'll be there first row, and I'm like, no, you don't understand. This is a backyard. Like, you'll be close enough.
it's like no matter where you are, you'll be within reaching
everyone's
distance.
first row.
But talk about intimate. Like, yeah, they're gonna come up and we'll be pals by the end of it, 100%.
Yeah.
No, and that's interesting though, because like my wife, she's super big into music. Like the only reason I went to Harry Styles concert is because she bought me a ticket to go with
Which
her.
I heard he's awesome.
Yeah, he super good performer. I'll be honest, dude. At first, I was like, Harry Styles, really? Do I look like this?
Yeah,
And,
Parker showed up, and by the end, he was like, "Watermelon sugar."
Yeah, by the end of it, man, I was in tutus and just all this glittery stuff. I don't even know what happened. It was a wild night, lots of alcohol. But no, I mean, my wife has told me that even those connections where she's like, man, I saw them before they were big. And if you do enough of those, I mean, your name gets out quicker than you think.
Yeah.
And so,
That's how I branded myself for a while. When I was around, 3 to 10K Instagram range, a lot of my videos that did well was, I did one where it was like, when you realize that finding me now is like finding Benson Boone 3 years ago.
yeah.
Right? And that's been a lot of my messaging. It's changing a bit now because I have a bit bigger following.
Mhm.
I don't know how long I want to keep using that messaging, but yeah, it worked for a long time of save this post as proof that you were one of the, the early ones. Like,
Did you find that as good marketing for yourself?
Oh yeah.
Really?
Benson Boone is a
like that.
great example of that, dude. He just exploded
He just came to Utah too.
out of
didn't he?
nowhere. Yeah,
He's got strong Utah ties.
he
I don't know if
does.
he's dating
He's
someone out
here
here.
a lot, like all the time.
I think I read on Wikipedia he went to BYU Idaho for a bit.
No way.
I think he might have grown up.
Yeah,
like,
he was. I think he's from like Washington originally, but
Yeah.
I know he spent time here.
Yeah.
Like people have been talking about him since I was in high school, so he was relatively well known. But up until he
yeah.
released "Beautiful Things,"
Yeah, he blew
it
up.
went insane on TikTok, and now his following just upped by like 400%. Because
But
of
see,
one song.
notice what you said. You said you've been following him since what? You were in high school, right? So he's been.
I've
consistent.
known he's been making music since I was 18, 19 years old.
So he's been consistent.
He's
and
been consistent.
5 years later. So yeah, I mean, there's a lot of reasoning behind your consistency.
Yeah.
But I mean, my thing is like, I can't, and it's hard. I can't control much, but if I put out, I know. So, and that was part of the thing with the 100 songs, right? Okay, I'm gonna have, so many songs released in 2024. But the goal was, if I can keep writing 5 songs a month at least during 2024, then I'll have another 60 songs to choose from for 2025, so on and so forth, and it'll just never stop.
Mm-hmm.
And in my opinion, it's like, and it is hard to stay consistent, which is what I'm feeling right now. But if I keep posting every day and put a song out every 3 weeks for the next 3 years, something's gonna happen.
I mean,
Something has to happen at
something
that
is
point.
gonna happen.
I don't think people realize 100 songs, like how difficult and how time consuming that is. Like,
Yeah.
I was trying to wrap my head around that the other day when I saw your post, and I was like, 100 fucking songs?
Yeah.
Like,
And
that's
That's
insane.
actually insane.
It probably takes me about, they're demos, so it would probably
Right.
take me about 6 to 8 hours to get 100 demos.
Right.
And then from there, I would go back and reproduce and retweak lyrics and all that stuff, which would probably take me another 6 hours. Now I've gotten to the point, so with a song, there's songwriting, production, mixing, and mastering,
Mhm.
if you're familiar. So mixing and mastering is like basically taking all the parts, all the instruments, and making them sound radio ready. So in the last 2 months, I started learning mixing and mastering as well. So now I'm writing, producing, mixing, mastering, marketing, all my own stuff, which it's been pretty time consuming. This
Yeah.
last mix I did probably took me 15, 20 hours just to
Holy
mix.
cow.
And
So
music takes even more time, but something that I've always thought was funny is people that are bashing on influencers that make a living doing whether it's Instagram or TikTok. They say, "Oh, it must be nice to just post a little video and then make a living off of it," but I don't think they realize the
The work that
time
goes
that
into
goes
that.
into it.
Yeah.
Editing videos, even those dumb little 30-second clips. When I edit clips, sometimes they take me well over 2 hours for 30 seconds.
yeah. I made 3 today and it took me 2 hours and I'm just sitting there on the computer. I'm like, this sucks, bro. Like,
Yeah.
this is not
It's
fun.
with everything else. People don't understand the back end that goes into it, because it's easy to look at someone who's made a TikTok or some type of similar video where they're like, "Oh, that must be really nice to just show up for 30 seconds, post a video, call it a day." It's
Well,
like,
I mean,
dude,
we've experienced it too. Even building this podcast, like, I mean, when we started, we were like, we didn't think it'd be a walk in the park by any means. But I mean, we've had a little bit of success. But even just trying to get traffic and views, we're just like blown away by how much work.
there's so much that goes into it, because for stuff like that, you have to storyboard, you have to plan, you have to
Yeah.
schedule, you have to film, you have to edit, you have to post it, you have to market it, and there's so many different things that go into it. And you're making music, so you have to do
So he's doing everything.
you
we're
have to do
doing on
storyboard
top of
planning,
it.
filming, editing, posting, marketing, and make the music.
which is wild.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I mean, so in the last month, things have like done well, but what I'm trying to figure out is how to do it all. Because right now, tomorrow I've got a meeting on merch. Because people are like, we want T-shirts, and I'm like, I don't have T-shirts, I don't have time to do T-shirts. But yeah, like to your point, it's like I'm trying to write 5 songs a month so that I can keep going in 2025. I've got to mix and master and produce all my songs that are still coming out this year. I've got to spend at least 2 hours a day on creating and posting on social media to stay relevant. I've also started to try and create community on social media so that I need fans, right? I mean, it's a lot, and people will see in a year or two when I am touring, and they're like, "This guy's living the life, man."
Mhm.
You know, like
Must be so
it's
easy.
oh man, he's living, and it's like, bro, like I for years was alone in my bedroom making songs that no one will ever hear. You know what I'm saying? Like, and even now, I'm like, everything I do every day, like most people go to a job and they get paid for their work. It's pretty easy to like, this is what I did, this is what I got paid. Everything I have done for the last 5 years, including still now, is in hopes that in the future it will finally pay back monetarily. Like, I don't like that is really hard to do. You know what I'm saying?
You're basically working an internship right now. You're still putting in a
yourself.
9 to
6
5.
years.
Yeah.
You're putting in a 9 to 5.
But it's
Well,
not
and
a 9 to
there's
5. It's a freaking 9 till 9.
9
Yeah.
till 9
What I-
with
Not saying. I mean, I don't like the culture of I work harder than everyone else. Like on social media, I'm not trying to say that. I take breaks. I do other things. Not like I'm just working all day long, but you know what I mean. Like,
yeah, it's just a long process. And I guess kind of while we're on the topic of social media, how do you deal with, especially being in music, there's a lot of negative comments. And for me, I've already talked about this multiple times, but when I first started, I'd have 10 positive comments, and then the first negative one I saw, I deleted the video because that's how much I cared.
Yeah.
If one person said,
You're such a
That's-
weak
that's the
bastard.
shittiest
I'm
bit.
just kidding.
right? I don't care now,
I'm
but
just kidding, bro.
No, I mean it stings. It
yeah, it stings.
Or like
it
me,
really
like
does.
for the Madison Beer song,
Yeah.
the video went viral. I've gotten so much freaking hate for that song. Like,
Yeah.
this shit is ass. This goes hard on mute. Like all this stuff, you know.
This song goes hard on mute.
That's a new one. I've never heard that. That's
Oh yeah, I mean, it's like I know it's this 12-year-old who just thinks he's so funny, you know,
Yeah.
but it stings,
yeah.
and especially when it's something you like put your heart and soul into. It's your music.
Yeah.
It's like you.
Even if it's a comment that they don't necessarily mean, they're just trying to get likes from their comment, and they might not even really think that. But yeah,
Yeah.
you see some 12-year-old keyboard warrior saying, this shit goes so hard on mute. Like, that has to sting to some extent. But that's why I think it's so important to just understand that a lot of that comes from envy.
Mhm.
And
What-
any
what-
publicity is good publicity. So
What's-
it's bad or good.
What's your guys' opinion on as success comes, so does more hate?
Oh, it's 100%
absolutely.
relevant. Yeah.
Have you had any experiences with that? Because I've had an
Yeah.
experience in the last couple of weeks that's been pretty surreal, and I've seen videos saying this is pretty normal.
Mhm.
I was just curious if you guys have had any experience with it.
Well, I'll be honest. I've actually encouraged hate in the comment section of our podcast because I want the publicity, and I'll stand by it. I still want people to go off and tell me how ugly I look. I still want people like I don't care what it is. You could tell me how funny I look. I don't know, but I still want that because it's attention drawing. And so honestly, we haven't really experienced, at least from my side on doing this, we haven't experienced much yet.
Right.
But I'm looking forward to embracing it because I've heard other people talk about it, and I'm just excited because once that does start happening, that's when publicity starts to hit.
Yeah,
So.
and for me, same thing. Obviously, when I first started posting videos, yeah, it stung a lot. Obviously, I deleted several for the public audience, several videos that were actually doing pretty successful at the time of the following I had. When I had 200 TikTok followers and had a video that hit 1,000, I'd be like, "Whoa,
Yeah, right.
that was crazy."
Yeah.
But now, as silly as this sounds, I just don't care. I really don't care. The more the comments, great. You're boosting the algorithm. You want a pat on the back? Awesome.
Yeah.
You tell me I suck? Great.
Yeah.
Like, I genuinely, and I'm not trying to sound mean, but I just don't care anymore because I'm happier when I don't care.
For sure.
And I'm sure it's different for you because if someone says my video sucks, it's just a clip. But for something that you're doing and the amount of work that goes into it, the amount of time, preparation, planning, executing, all that, I'm sure it stung a little bit more to you in terms of in the beginning where you put this amount of time into a song and then someone says it sucks and you're like, oh, that, dang, you know,
Yeah.
like that hurts. But I think as soon as you stop caring, you'll be a lot happier because obviously
Right.
there's still people that, just for example, like Mr. Beast,
Mm-hmm.
He literally gives away millions of dollars,
Right.
builds houses for people in third world countries, just gives people 10 grand for fun, approaches people in the store and says, "You struggling to pay your bills? Here's 15 grand." And there's still going to be somebody that says, "He's just doing this for attention, bro."
Right.
Or
Yeah.
Mr. Beast, more like Mr. Ass. Like some 12-year-old in the comments. That's there. No matter, you can't avoid it. You'll never be able to dodge it.
This shit would go hard if it was, Braille.
Yeah, exactly. But there's no, as soon as you accept that there's no avoiding that, you're never going to have a video that has, when do comments really start pouring in? I'd say 10K base, maybe.
Yeah.
You'll never have a video with at least 10,000 views with 0 hate comments. Won't happen.
Yeah.
You'll have 99 positive ones, but there's always going to be one single person that, like you said, "Oh, this shit goes hard on mute."
Like, that reminds me of our first clip we ever released. So this was actually really funny. Garrett and I were literally just in here messing around one day before we had even started our podcast.
Uh-huh.
And we filmed a clip about, like Garrett was testing me about taking an autism test. And within that video actually hit 10,000 views on YouTube. Like
On Shorts, which
Shorts.
YouTube, that was wild at the
and
time
we were
for
just
that.
like, what the heck? Like, that's random. There's one kid that's like, yeah, that kid definitely looks like he should be taking an autism test. And I just started busting out laughing. It's like, yeah.
Oh, dude, there's some funny ones. I had a video where someone was filming me at the gym. I was just talking, telling a story. And listen, I have a pretty big forehead, but this one comment was so funny. It was like, what did he say? He was like, "He's not balding, but he's got a little more face to wash." I just dude, high five, bro. That was just good. That was
some of them are so
was
creative,
clever.
bro. There are some comments that are so creative.
And you got to embrace those ones that you're just like, damn, he got me.
It's I can't even be mad at that.
No, you
Like,
can't.
That's
No, it's just
incredible.
funny. 100%.
Yeah.
Did you ever DM him back and be like, hey, I need a face scrub? Or
I don't think I responded to him, no. But
oh, man,
that's
that'd been
probably
funny.
definitely still my favorite comment.
That is awesome.
I've got a little more face to wash.
It's like you get flamed so bad that at that point you're like, well played.
Yeah,
sir.
you can't even be mad at
Yeah,
that.
Dude, I had one too. I mean, I have quite a few, but I did have one girl, and it was about the Madison beer one too.
Oh, interesting.
It was a paragraph. It was so over the top. I was like, you just lost all credibility in trying to roast me. Cause
Yeah.
she was like, how dare you write a song comparing your girl to Madison Beer? Like, you, and she went into everything. She went into how I looked, how I dressed. Like, I literally commented back at her and like, did we date back in the day? Like, I don't know who you are, but
Yeah. Didn't know I had a second ex-girlfriend out there.
oh my gosh, dude. Anyways, but it was
Man.
like this long, and I'm like, it's anyways. So you can
Yeah.
see
Damn.
it.
I think
That's crazy.
I think the worst comment. Well, it's funny now, but at the time I was like, wow, that really hurts my soul. Was I'm trying to remember exactly what he said. It was on TikTok. The way I hit the algorithm and blew up to some extent was I did just things that happened during my day and talked in the mirror, but kind of made it in more of like a comedy story. And I still remember to this day this one comment, and most of the comments were positive, obviously, like they were laughing or, oh, that's so funny, but one comment said, and I have to dance around this a little bit too because it's like I don't know if
You can get
YouTube will
canceled.
like it, but
Yeah.
basically it said, I bet this guy sucks wiener for gas money and then walks home. I was like, wow. I was like, at the time I was like, damn.
That's pretty funny.
But
though.
that's
funny.
obviously I read it and I was like, oh man. But then 10 minutes later I was laughing my ass off because it's so creative that I can't even be mad at it at that point.
Oh, man.
But I don't know, stuff like that's funny to me, and social media is just a funny place altogether. But
I did have. I don't know if this is gonna be too deep for the pod, but the reason I asked is so those 2 ghost videos about my divorce have done over 2 million views, and I basically just told my story, which the story is, got married 6 years ago. She said she wanted a divorce a year later and was remarried 4 months after that.
Damn.
Really sucked. It was hard, but this song helped me get through, and this is proof that your life can become beautiful again. And I like posted some clips of all these fantastic things that have happened to me since that time. And my ex's like friends just went off about like how horrible I was. And anyways, there's a whole backstory to that we don't have to get into, but that was the first time where it was like actual real hate. You know what I'm saying? Besides like the funny
just beyond the keyboard warrior.
Like really. And it's interesting because that never would have happened if the videos did 1,000, 2,000.
That's the thing.
That's got to tell you that you're doing it right, though, right? And that's probably why you brought up the whole question in the first place. Is like why, if you're experiencing backlash, how much and why.
Well, and that's the thing is like I'll see videos of people way more successful than me that talk about this.
Mm-hmm.
It's like you will start to, when you actually start to find success, which again I haven't found a ton, but I found something. Like things like this will happen. It's been interesting because I've seen that to some degree. You know? And
that's still gotta hurt though, man. Coming from friends.
It's more. That was like, it was like personal attacks.
Yeah.
Of like attacking my character, and so that was pretty intense for sure.
Yeah, and that's what's crazy about the whole. I don't know if this one necessarily stemmed from envy, but a lot of the time you won't even get negative comments unless the video's doing good.
Exactly.
Like you said, you could have posted whatever you had posted and it got a couple hundred views. They never would have said anything.
Mm-hmm.
But now, since a hefty amount of people have seen the video and are actively watching the video, well, all of a sudden now there's more people than just you that are going to see that comment. So it's, if you have 800 views, most of the time there's a couple comments, mostly maybe even none. But at that point, they're not only attacking you, they're giving someone else fuel to essentially hate you also. Because at that point, they're like, oh, really? He's that bad?
What was so interesting, though, so when all those comments started coming in, like, I left the comments. And I blocked them. But I left the comments, and it was interesting. In fact, honestly, I don't even know if people have responded. I probably can't see it. Anyways, but that I think the video had done like 200K, 300K,
mm-hmm.
and then they started flooding the comment section, and it, like, part of the reason I think it did so well is because of that. But what was so interesting is how many people who have no idea who I was actually came to my defense from the comments.
That's so
which is
sick.
pretty crazy.
That's pretty powerful.
That
too.
tells me right there that you've got a fan base that already loves you enough to go to like war for you in a way.
Well, these people, they were just finding the video. They didn't know who I was.
Well, and that's what's so sick. Fans are not. I mean, people are going to see the authenticity through you and through your music,
For sure. But, that's been my biggest experience to this point of, like, real hate.
That's some real hate. That's wild. Well,
okay.
So to wrap up, Garrett usually likes to ask a couple questions kind of toward the end here. This is kind of his thing. So I'll let you go ahead and ask
yes, the first question is, who's your hero? Followed by, if you could give one piece of advice to somebody to make their life better or happier, what would it be?
Who's my hero?
You don't have to say me. It's okay. It's like I understand.
It's Parker for sure. He hit me up with some insurance a couple months back.
Yeah.
He's definitely my
what
hero.
can I say, man?
Dude. Like, I don't feel like I have one. There's so many people that have impacted me.
You could be a narcissistic douchebag and say yourself. It's me. It's always been me.
It's Andrew Tate. That's my hero.
That's amazing.
No, I mean, the reason I say, like, it's hard to say one person because there have been, like, my dad has been great in some aspects. Like, this old boss I had that really picked me up with the divorce was great. My pest control boss, my best friend's been there for me. You know what I'm saying? Just there's so many people that have just helped. So I don't know if I have a hero, but I have a lot of heroes, I guess.
A lot of involvement. Yeah.
Oh, no, I like that. And then, one piece of advice for somebody out there watching that experienced personally that helped you kind of break through and made your life better?
Jeez, one.
There are multiple.
Or multiple.
I mean,
yeah.
there's so many. Like, really, the one thing that comes to my mind, which sounds so cliche, is just go to the gym and work out.
That's free therapy right there.
It's free therapy, but it's also like, I feel like everything we've talked about, the ability to post consistently for 7 months, the ability to write 100 songs, the ability to put out a song every 3 weeks, and the ability to go where I want to go, is because I've worked out every day for 10 years. I just have. I just have managed to stay consistent with my fitness. And that helps obviously just feel good. It helps your emotional, like it helps so many things, but it also just gives me, confidence that I can be consistent and show up every day. And I think that's a powerful.
Lots of clarity.
No, that's awesome. Yeah, that's the initial kind of first breakthrough of someone understanding that they can do something consistently, because they say it takes 21 days for something to become a habit, right?
Yeah.
So now I'm sure for you, if there ever is a day where you miss the gym, something feels off.
Yeah,
like it doesn't
100%.
feel right if you don't go. And that ties into consistently a lot, because especially if you're posting videos or whatever it is, if you do something consistently 21 days in a row, at that point, if you ever don't do it, then you feel weird. Like you're saying, if I ever don't go to the gym, then the whole day just seems thrown off, because
Right.
it's something that you're so used to doing that all of a sudden just isn't there.
And I would say that to a lot of people, it's like, I can't stay consistent on social media, or like I'm not seeing the results. First of all, they never say that. They say, I'm not seeing the results I want, dude. You're killing it. And I'm like, it's because you're not staying consistent. And honestly, if I look at your personal life, you also don't stay consistent at the gym. You don't. You go for a week and then you stop, and you go for a week. So, like, that is the most fundamental to me. Like, go work out and take care of your body every day. Build that. And then I think you'll have the confidence and the ability to be consistent in whatever you want to be. So,
That's interesting. No, I actually like that, because there's
I'm
just
a sales bro at heart, dude.
he's pumping iron, knocking
I'm a
doors.
narcissistic douchebag sales bro.
It's true though. I mean,
every day.
for the
I
most
love
part, the saying, like, the way you do one thing is the way you do everything.
Yep.
So that makes
I
a lot
wonder
of
where
sense.
you've heard that. I've never
I
heard
don't
that
know.
before.
I'm not sure, brother. What's up, brother? Anyways, but no, it is true though. I've never thought about that in that aspect. Is for the gym, at least, if you're ever not going on a consistent basis, then it's probably very likely that you're not doing
You're
something
probably
else on a
not
consistent
showing up.
basis.
Exactly.
When it teaches you consistency, man, like that's the one thing I've gathered from this conversation is, if you want to be successful at something, it takes consistency.
Yeah.
So go learn it,
Yeah.
right? And the gym's a great place to start.
Yeah,
I think it's the only way to start.
Yeah.
it could even
That's
be.
my opinion. I don't know.
Yeah,
That's
I mean,
my
it could even
opinion.
be simpler than that. It could even just, for someone that's really struggling, like, make your bed every morning when you wake up.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, if you haven't heard of the book Atomic Habits, this is what we're
I'm reading it right now.
Yeah. That's what it's talking about. It really is, like, and I actually made a post about it today. This is what's so cool. I'm not a bodybuilder. I'm really happy with where my physique and my body's at. And I don't spend 3 hours a day. I don't even take care of my nutrition that great. I just have gone every day for 10 years. And if you do that, the body you want comes, you know? And so it's not, and it's the same thing, like, so many people are, I want to get good at social media. I made 15 posts, and it's like, yeah, and I'm like, okay, that's gonna last you a month,
Right.
you know. So it's not about the all at once go hard at the gym, or the people like, I bought a workout plan, I have a fitness, like I have a what do you call it?
Personal trainer.
Personal trainer, of all these things, and those are great. But again, it's like, bro, it's not anything crazy. Like, show up, not even a gym, go run. I don't care what it is, but do it for 30 minutes, 20 minutes, 10 minutes.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Start small and build.
It's like a tortoise in the hare situation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%.
No,
So.
that's awesome. I like that mindset, man, and I really appreciate you for coming on here and talking to us. And real quick before we hop off, this is your chance to plug anything you want, and we'll put it down in the description.
Yep.
Any channels, any
Spotify,
website,
whatever.
Spotify.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Please go listen to my music. That's about it. I mean, I'm on Instagram, and my TikTok hasn't done as well, but it's just Bryson, BRYSN music. And then if you just look up Bryson, BRYSN on Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube, you'll find me there. And I can't promise that you'll love my stuff, but I can promise you won't hate it. So
Unless you're his ex's friends.
yeah.
But in
They
that
will-
case,
If you're one of them, then you probably hated this whole conversation anyway. So you're like-
It's like, if you are one of them, I'm very shocked that you made it to the end of this
Yeah.
episode.
yeah.
You're
100%.
seething by this point.
Yeah. No, that's awesome
I
though.
love
Thank
it.
you for hopping on here.
Appreciate
and
it.
real quick, guys, if
Yeah,
you've
thanks for
been
having me.
enjoying the content, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. It'll really help out the channel so we
In
can
fact-
keep doing this in the future.
Bryson, can you give us a like and a subscribe for all of your viewers?
Right there.
Yes.
Appreciate it.
Put it like make it a.
It's official. We
I'll
got
make the
Bryson
graphic.
stamp.
It'll look
Yeah,
professional.
yeah.
Yeah, we got the Bryson stamp. We're good. He's not a narcissistic douchebag.
Just a normal sales bro that makes music.
100%.
Oh yeah, dude.
Cool,
yeah,
man.
well that was fun. Thanks for coming on the
Appreciate you,
podcast.
man.
And yeah, like, subscribe. We'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.
You know I got it. I pull up, I come around, make my rounds, it's my town. You know I got it. Hey, when I'm round, they now, what's up now? This touchdown like.